Hello everyone. The subject of this video is Donald Trump and the new Civil War. And this whole video is predicated on if Trump loses. This is Trump's plan B. So, and I'm going to make a bold prediction here about what his plan B will be like. You know, if I'm right about this, it's going to scare a lot of people. But again, this is only if Trump loses. I don't think he will. I think things are starting to shift in his direction very slowly. There's an undercurrent moving his way. But anyway, we'll just play with this. And I thought about this. What made me think about it was his speech at Gettysburg, where he gave the speech about what he was going to do in his first 100 days. And he laid it out, you know, everything he was intended to do. But what interested me is the first part of the speech, because when he started talking, I mean, my ears go, whoa, this is interesting. And this is, I think he's firing a few warning shots. And I think the selection of Gettysburg, the famous Civil War battle, site of this famous Civil War battle, was intentional, because he's proclaiming that if he doesn't succeed, it's going to be a civil war. And so, for those of you who are not familiar with the American Civil War, it happened between took place between 1861 and 1865. The Battle of Gettysburg was I believe, the first 3 days of July in 1863. And that's as far north as the South got into the north, just over the border of Pennsylvania, probably about 60, 70 miles or so northwest of Baltimore. That's as far as they got. Just across the Maryland border into Pennsylvania. But that was deliberate, I think, on his part to say, you know, there could be a civil war brewing here, which is why I call it the new Civil War. But anyway, when this first part I transcribed, and I said, man, this is fascinating, because let me just run through it real quickly. He divides it into two parts. He talks about the rigged system, divides it into two parts: voter fraud and the illegitimacy of Hillary Clinton running for president. She shouldn't be running. You know, she violates the laws. She shouldn't be running. So he's making these 2 points. And first, on voter fraud. And he quotes Pew Research. And Pew says there are 24 million voter registrations in the United States that are invalid or significantly inaccurate. 24 million. 1.8 million dead people are registered to vote. A lot of those dead people are still voting, he says. 2.8 million people are registered in more than one state. It's usually snowbirds. You know, they live in Wisconsin in the summer, come to Arizona in the winter, and they vote in both states twice. It's not allowed. And then 14% of non-citizens are registered to vote. These are people that are not citizens of the United States still voting in the election. 14% is what Pew says. But then he goes into talking about Hillary. He says the system is still rigged because look at how she got in. Hillary Clinton should have been precluded from running for the presidency of the United States, but the FBI and the Justice Department covered up her crimes. Now, those are very strong words. He accuses the FBI and the Justice Department of criminal activity. He said they were complicit in her crimes because they're co-conspirators. And that's strong stuff. And he goes down further, you know how the FBI gave her a free pass, the 33,000 emails. She got a subpoena from Congress for those emails, and a week or so later she deleted all of them. And that's a crime. You can't do that. But the more I read this, the more I'm thinking, you know, this sounds like the foundation of a legal brief. You know, when you submit a brief to the court, a brief, a synopsis of what your case is going to be all about, and you put in some facts, but not a lot of facts because you want to keep as much as you can to yourself, but just enough to get your case into court, to have it considered. And I think that's what it looks like. This is what happened here, is that he's trying a two-pronged approach. Because if he loses, he's going to start filing lawsuits. And believe you me, anybody who knows anything at all about Donald Trump knows that he will sue people in a heartbeat. These 10 women that have just come up in the last 3 weeks here and making the accusations in the media about what he did and all this stuff. And he said in this speech, later in this speech, he says, those 10 women, he says, after this election is over, I'm going to sue each and every one of them for lying about me. And whether he can or not is another matter entirely. It'd be pretty difficult to do because he's a public figure. But if he can prove it, that they slandered him, sure, maliciously, and that the media maliciously printed it when they knew it was false, see, then yeah, he can prevail in the court of law. But the main thing is bringing a lawsuit because Hillary is illegitimate. She shouldn't be there. And I think that's where he can prevail. That's serious stuff. But it would also cause a huge political civil war between the establishment and the Trump supporters. It would be big. It would be just open a chasm up. I mean, it's already there, but it would just widen it. And you know, there'd be a lot of people running for the tall grass, a lot of politicians running for the tall grass, because they'd have a lot of what their shenanigans or crimes exposed. You know, it's like flipping on the light in the kitchen and seeing all the cockroaches scurrying. And, you know, Trump will flip on the light here. But, yeah, I really did get the impression that that's what the first part of this speech was all about. You know, a huge warning. What I call the coming civil war. Now, I could say I could be wrong about this, but yeah, I can see Trump. I can see Trump bringing lawsuits in federal courts over this stuff, in individual states, and in Washington. You know, probably, you know, even take it to the Supreme Court. Who knows? You know, who knows what could happen? Because that's what happened in Gore versus Bush. It went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled in favor of Bush. So it's not unprecedented that it goes to the Supreme Court. The precedent has been established. And if Trump can prove that the FBI and the Justice Department were engaged in criminal activity in favor of Clinton, in favor of Clinton's criminal activity, you know, I don't want to go there. This would be it'd be a political earthquake, you know, on a massive scale. So, anyway, that's all I have to say on that subject. I just thought I'd throw it out there and, you know, see if it happens. But like I say, I don't think Trump is going to lose. It's starting to shift in his direction, and we'll see what happens. But I don't know. It's what makes it fun to speculate. I just thought I'd throw that out there and see what you think. Tell me what you think below. And as always, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.